Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This guy right over here, that's Tim. And this is The Second Legacy. And thank you for stopping by today. This one might get your blood pressure up a little bit because Tim and I are going to walk through a pattern that we're noticing and observing. And I did this video on my channel separately, but I want to run it by Tim to see if we can break down something that I missed about the lawlessness that's happening in all of our cities and states. And there seems to be a common theme. You guys let us know what you think that common theme is in the comments field right down there. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And this is the place where we look at the 2A stuff, take it in and analyze it, commentary, send it back out with some sarcasm and humor. And with that, Tim, this is a little bit angering. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh yeah, are we gonna start off with a nice magazine? Oh, a clip magazine. Is it a magazine or a clip?
A clip? A magazine?
Let's call it a magazine.
A magazine.
You can't call it a clip.
Reload the magazine. You can't do that. That's not right.
Snorted. All right, go ahead.
No, it's okay. You did snort, but I was remiss. And speaking of clips and magazines, we're going to say a quick word for our sponsor, Ammo Squared, and then we're going to get back to this. And the content today is brought to you by a sponsor, Ammo Squared. Now, this is such an interesting idea, guys. We're talking about retirement accounts for your ammo. It's a thing. This is something you guys definitely at least look at if you're interested.
So what's really cool about it is you can tell Ammo Squared what type of ammunition you want, and it'll automatically purchase that ammunition throughout the month. You can also sell the ammunition back if you don't want it, or you can just say, send it to me now, and they'll hold it for you. They'll store it for free, and they'll ship it to you whenever you request it. There's so many cool features about this service. You really need to check them out at ammosquared.com, and we want to thank them for sponsoring today's video.
All right, Tim, listen, I'm going to go straight in here. We're just going in. I'm going to play you a clip.
Magazine.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, I'm going to play you a video portion of a full video. And this is happening in New York. Now, this is something that we've been talking about a lot with the consistent themes that we've been observing around people being let out of prison. So play number 11, Doctor, and I'm going to tell you what's going on here, Tim. I'm just going to kind of narrate it. So this is a 16-year-old who shoved a 68-year-old woman off of the steps of her church. And while he's going through her pockets and her purse while she's sitting there unconscious, 68-year-old woman again, he sprints off and he gets caught. Well, wouldn't you know, Tim, he's been arrested and released 9 times before that attack happened.
Yeah. And this
9 times.
This is the reform the far left is going to tell you that they've accomplished in the criminal justice system. Their idea of reform is putting violent criminals back out on the street. To what end?
Yeah.
Well, we can only speculate. But my position is that they want this chaos because this is how Marxists gain and maintain power. Through chaos, through violence. Read a history book if you doubt me. This is how they maintain their power base. And so they're willing to allow you to suffer and become a victim of crime for their political agendas. And so,
very well said.
This is disgusting. This is an absolutely disgusting trend. And the fact that even half of the population would support this nonsense by voting for the people doing this is mind-numbing to me. It truly is.
Mm-hmm. No, it absolutely is. In fact, here's a few more details. And Doctor, you can play this clip over and over again while we're talking about this at your leisure, whatever you want to do. But listen to what happened 3 days before this attack, which you're watching right now. 3 days before that, this kid, Javon Prince, had reportedly mugged a 50-year-old woman and stole her car 3 days before. You tell me in what world that makes sense. Arrested 9 times, 3 days prior to what you're watching, stole a 50-year-old woman's car and mugged her. So this guy likes to pick on 50-year-old, 60-year-old women. Really, really a good stand-up character and model of masculinity. But he was also arrested 2 other times for assault and has been charged with 6 robberies. It's a nice guy, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and release him on his own recognizance. He's a victim.
He clearly was.
This is just unbelievable.
But that's just New York.
I mean,
I know, it's insane.
In a normal world, the citizens of that area, when they would see this type of a news report, would force these politicians out of power.
Oh,
you would recall
absolutely.
them. You would get them out. You might even have angry mobs assembling outside of the Capitol. This is absolutely ridiculous. And this type of nonsense you would think would get people riled up. But it's not. People are just sitting back, allowing this to happen. Mm-hmm. And half of the population is voting it to happen.
Correct. And blaming something else. Right. So you can see literally what is happening is a victim being seized upon a young 16-year-old kid. I mean, it's mind boggling. But that's New York. And all the arrests that I just showed you, Tim, he's back on the street 3 days later after doing something very similar. And then it happens again. I want to know when these victims are going to start suing the city
I was
for
thinking
doing
the same
that.
thing. I mean, this is ripe
Because
for a
that's what
class
needs to
action
happen.
lawsuit. They need to sue.
100%.
They need to sue New York into financial oblivion. And
Yeah,
I would
exactly
love
right.
to see this victim become a billionaire because of the city's
Oh, absolutely.
mismanagement of crime and just
100%.
basically brushing off their duty to make some effort to actually protect their citizens. What they're doing is
Correct.
making some effort to make their citizens victims for political means.
Yes. Absolutely are. So now that was New York. Okay. I told you this one will get your blood pressure up a little bit.
Oh, it's just infuriating.
So it is. No, it 100% is. Now we're going to go to another story that we covered earlier this week or towards the tail end of last week. We're going to jump into Memphis real quick. And again, you're going to start to see a theme. This is number 13.
Also learning a lot of new information about this young man. His nickname was Rusty, the officer, Joseph McKinney.
Right.
We're also learning new information regarding one of the suspects just released on no bond less than 1 month before this shooting.
So here's what we know. District Attorney Steve Mulroy has identified the deceased suspect as 18-year-old Jalen Lobley. He was arrested March 5th of 2024 for stealing 2 vehicles. Lobley was found asleep in a stolen car with a loaded weapon with a Glock switch attached.
Now, Mulroy says he was not responsible for releasing him ROR. He says a jury commissioner did that down at the jail.
It's systemic. That's the point. It's systemic.
Yeah. I mean, this is ongoing. There's more than just these 2 stories out there of such things happening. This is an ongoing thing. And it's not just in New York City. This is in a lot of far left cities who have implemented such reforms of their justice system. And by reform, they mean turning violent criminals loose once again to go out and cause chaos and mayhem and to victimize you so that they can maintain or grow their power base.
No, I completely agree with the sentiment that you just said. They are letting people out because the victimizers are now the victims, and the victims are now just
they're guilty.
I mean,
whatever happened to them, they had it coming to them because that poor victimized criminal had no choice but to beat them up, slam their head against the asphalt, and take their stuff. I mean, I'm sure that guy then went straight to the store and bought baby formula for his child at home.
Oh, that's exactly what it was. So, I mean, it was the systemic issue was bad. So where we've gone now is I've shown you New York. That was a week ago with the 16-year-old and the 68-year-old woman. Literally, you saw the video pushing her down the stairs, then stealing her stuff with the arrest record. I just showed you Memphis, Tennessee, which is a red state but a blue city. Again, the same thing. You've got federal crimes that are violated with a Glock switch. You've got underage with a firearm. You've got stolen vehicles. You've got grand theft auto and caught in there, and you're released with a curfew, and that's it.
Yep, and a history of,
then you kill
of
a
criminal
cop.
behavior. Yeah.
And a history of criminal behavior, and then you kill a cop. A cop is dead because of that. So now the victims that should not have happened, 68-year-old woman, 50-year-old woman in New York, cop in Tennessee. Okay? Now, let me wrap this up with going back to New York. This is something that we covered prior, Tim, about 3 weeks ago when this occurred. NYPD officer fatally shot during traffic stop. Officer Jonathan Diller, 31, was shot by a man, Guy Riviera, previously arrested by the NYPD 21 times. So in this scenario, this is the exact same stuff that you're seeing. This is reformative justice, okay, or restorative justice. You've got Jones, who is the actual guy who shot him, was hit with weapon charges in April of 2023. This murder happened in April of 2024, and he was out on $75,000 bail and due back in court on Monday. Here's what Eric Adams said. This again, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City. Quote, April 2023, less than a year. Gun charge. He's back on the street, Adams said. This is what you call not a crime problem, but a recidivist problem. The same bad people doing bad things to good people. Less than a year, he's back on the streets. And you know what infuriates me about that statement, Tim?
Yeah, he's part of the problem.
He's part of the problem because he is propagating the exact same restorative justice, woke ideology, progressive ideology that lets these criminals out in his battling basically the haves and the have-nots, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, and all the things that he's fomenting around this class warfare the exact same way. And he's sitting here going, "That's not right. It's recidivist." You kind of got your hands all on this, bro.
Yeah. And don't you just love how the far left supports violent criminals like this? They support illegal immigration and the flood of people and drugs coming over the border. They totally enable that behavior. And they even go out there, and many of these far leftists will wind up in places like Dearborn, Michigan, chanting "Death to America." And these are the people you're voting for, Democrats?
Yeah.
I mean,
what
even
is
in the wrong with you?
Right. What this boils down to, and the reason that I put these clips all together like this, what this boils down to is a systemic pattern of I was thinking about it, and this is the best way I can say it. Those that are the most exposed to the criminal element, cops, are getting killed and getting wounded and getting hurt. And then those that are the weakest in our society are getting wounded and hurt and targeted. What you are seeing is the beginning stages. So the first stage, you're going to get the interactions between those that are going to be policing them, police. The next stage is the weakest among us because these people are predators. The stage after that is going to be groups of people and the children and the teenagers and the women. It's going to progress further and further and further. Do you think there's any reason that everyone is arming up?
Yeah.
Everyone's buying guns. It's because of this.
Yeah. Yep. And the far left that's not just allowing, but facilitating this to happen, they're creating a situation where it's truly creating mass chaos within the United States. And I just don't understand how people aren't seeing this and aren't calling this out, how they're just turning a blind eye to it. And all this crime and stuff that they're allowing to happen, they then take those statistics and beat you over the head with them and say, we have to do something, like take your guns to make this stop. No, we need to reverse your let them go free policies that's making this crime wave in these cities happen. It's you causing it, and then you're blaming us, and you want to take our liberties away in response. They're creating this chaos to strip you of your rights, and so many people just don't see this. It's like hitting you in the face.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. But you know what I just remembered? Just popping in my head. Remember when Cory Booker, we covered this about 3-4 months ago when they were in a Senate hearing and he was giving one of his grand gun control speeches, and he said inaction is complicity?
Yeah.
Wow.
Funny you should say that. Yeah.
Funny you should mention that.
Yeah. I mean,
anyway,
I mean, this is so infuriating to see this stuff. It is so preventable, and there's policies that can be enacted. I mean, look what Giuliani did when he was mayor of New York City, right? Strong enforcement of the laws brought the violent crime rate down. Now we're seeing the violent crime rate spiking back up. And what's changed? They're not holding anybody accountable. They're not punishing anybody. So if you're a criminal and you see your buddy walk on a murder charge, what are you going to do yourself? Well, you're going to go murder the guy that you got a beef with. Anyway.
Or something even less than that. Oh, he mugged a 50-year-old woman and he's out 2 days later.
Yeah.
He got a car out of it and he can go victimize someone else. Well, hot dog, I can sell drugs then.
Right.
I can do this. I can do that. It's literally, it's stemming from there is no accountability. The second that you removed accountability, which is what the left does, that is a mainstay of the left. They remove accountability because everything is mean and everything is bad and there should be no consequences because after all, they're victims through some way, shape, or form, through some twisted way of looking at it. And when you remove accountability like that, everyone else pays the price. Those that have interaction with them on the criminal element and those that are the most vulnerable among us.
Yep. And on that upbeat note, we're going to go ahead and end. Are you infuriated by all of this? Let us know what you think about what's going on in the comments down below. Thank you for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.